coming at you live from outside of space and time. I'm Naeem. Welcome to the feedback loop. This is going to be a video debrief of a target I worked on a recent project for the Hellfire remote viewing group, which is ran by my colleague Daz Smith. His website is remoteview.com. And, it's a group of remote viewers that he recruited. And we basically work, esoteric, strange, mysterious, kind of like, you know, messed up kind of targets that people, probably wouldn't remote view usually. So it's just like for fun group, and we're just exploring mysterious things using remote viewing. So this target was tasked by Dimi. I'll put a link in the description to her presentation on, she goes through a bunch of the data and goes a little more in depth on, the nature of the target itself. But I'll quickly go through the tasking. And this target is related to Skinwalker Ranch, which is, there's a popular television show about this place. A lot of paranormal events happen there, UFO activity, strange beings, orbs of light, radiation, electromagnetic anomalies and stuff like that. So, there's a whole TV show about, people investigating this area. I actually worked a different remote viewing project on this location as well for crypto viewing. And I'll put a link in the description to that as well. But this specific session that I'm going to be debriefing here is about the hitchhiker effect. So it's related to the Skinwalker Ranch location. So I'm going to go to the tasking document here, and we'll take a look. So the hitchhiker effect of Jonathan Axelrod from Skinwalker Ranch. The viewer will describe the so-called hitchhiker effect related to Jonathan Axelrod and the way in which this effect is passed on to others. So the subtasks were to describe the source of the phenomenon, describe the purpose or the reason of the effect, and describe the process and mechanism which underlies the phenomenon, like what is special or different about Axelrod or those whom it is passed on to. What makes them sensitive to pick up this phenomenon and transmit it to another person. So basically there's people who visit this Skinwalker Ranch location. Some of them end up kind of like catching something, strange things start happening to them and following them around and even pass on to other people in their lives. And this Axelrod person, it's a fictitious name, but some of his experiences are related in the book Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, an insider's account of the secret government UFO program. And I have the book here by James T. Lekitsky, Keller, and George Knapp. And I'll read a bit off the back here so you can kind of get a gist for this. Skinwalkers at the Pentagon amassed the massive scope of the Pentagon's landmark UFO study that ran from the Defense Intelligence Agency in Washington, D.C., and was executed by Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program, or AAWSAP as it was known, investigated the Tic Tac and other nuts and bolts UFO events, analyzed intrusions of UFOs into U.S. military bases, as well as probed the plethora of bizarre phenomenon that government investigators encountered on Skinwalker Ranch. This often led the attachment of strange phenomenon to military personnel who visited the ranch and brought something home to their families, resulting in frightening eruptions of paranormal events in their households that terrorized and even sometimes injured their children. By the end of the 2-year program, more than 100 separate technical reports, some of which ran to hundreds of pages, were delivered to the Defense Intelligence Agency. Among them were a 149-page report on the Soviet and now Russian UAP investigation analysis capability, Other another details the design and build of a functional prototype for an autonomous, unidentified aerial phenomenon surveillance platform. Written by two program insiders and a respected journalist, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon comes to a conclusion that has never before been revealed. And I thought it was interesting that it says here, near the bottom, it says, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon has been reviewed by the U.S. Department of Defense and cleared for public release. So that's a little bit on the nature of the phenomenon here. So we're trying to look at what is this strange effect that happens to people that visit Skinwalker Ranch, specifically, as told in the book about Jonathan Axelrod. So now I'm just going to go into some of my data here, and the links will be in the description if you want to see the other viewers' data, because there was Coral, Darby, Daz, Dennis, Henny, Rick, and myself worked this target. So I'm just gonna go through quickly some of my data here from 3 of my sessions. My first session was mainly location based. I saw something in the air first, like a funnel or a vortex, and this felt like similar to weather modification, like an air current or a portal. It felt like a mysterious appearance, and this felt artificial, like it was somehow being artificially generated. My land 1, I know a part of the tasking was to maybe the source of the phenomenon. I'm thinking maybe this might be a part of the source here. I see a pretty vast landscape here with a whole bunch of circular structures lined up together, and it feels like they're like electrodes or power units. And the sense here was like a harp type facility, some kind of structure that's giving off power, discharging electrons, almost like a power plant or something. Impressions of like lightning or electricity striking these kind of like domed circular structures. And then I got a view of it from far away, and this is what it would look like. And I see it in the dark. It looks like a light show from far away, so very bright in this kind of vast, barren landscape of very pink and white bright lights flashing in the darkness, if you were to see that. Moving on to another session here. I had impressions of this light energy, double helix pattern of energy. It felt like light plasma. Transparent, but has very fine particulates in it. An incident ray, almost like a liquid light or neon. Bright fluorescent colors and glows, and it feels like it has to do with light permeability. So here I saw a life human in a pretty rugged landscape with some craggy hills in the distance, which is reminiscent of Skinwalker Ranch. And I see a pink white light beam kind of like engulf this life here and cover them. And it feels like they get discombobulated when this happens. Transport, reduce, transmit, almost like holographic light that has patterns of information inside of it. I did some edging here to get some more visuals, and here I saw a domed silvery white structure which felt artificial and a very barren landscape. And this is a fairly large structure here, and this felt high security, off limits. So here's some of the data on this one. Life feels like they're changed, reconfigured, abducted, transported. There's animosity and regret, and this feels like playing on the borders of fantasy and reality here in their minds. It almost feels like this creates a clone or a double of them, replicated almost. an adult male encompassed, flooded with light. Um, it changes their DNA, their lipids, the cortisol, the encoders. And I got the sense that people call this person a liar. And that gave me like um, kind of like comparisons to Travis Walton. I saw a life, um, a middle aged male, Caucasian, a little bit of facial hair, um, abductee, implant, transplant. He's a carrier, a correspondent, a vessel. Felt like a useful idiot, like he's being used. He's been kind of like implanted with something. That could be the Axelrod character. Yeah, the energy felt like a vibration, sound wave, or light wave, a data download, a BIOS upgrade, a BIOS or firmware implant. This person feels like a receiver, and it has like the light has like a helix pattern in it. Luminosity, intelligent design, the blueprints of life is the some of the probes I got there. And then this was my last visual here. This is pretty vivid. This almost reminded me of the Vitruvian Man, but it was a bit different. I saw light coming in through the crown and circulating through all these different points, energy centers in the body, and the whole body was just glowing with light. And I get the probes are like prana, life force, vitality, reservoir, um, light body, permeability. So this may be the effects of the light beam that flooded this life form. And I know that Dennis and Daz had very similar data to this as well. So let me switch back views here. So yeah, I'm kind of still, you know, going through this book and catching up to exactly what goes on at this place because it's kind of a very deep subject. But hopefully, this data sheds some light, can fill in some holes. You can check out the other viewers' data in the links in the description below. Hopefully, this was interesting. Peace and love. Thanks for watching.